You can manifest your specific person without actually ever lifting a finger as long as you can understand this simple idea. We know we can manifest and do anything. You've already created everything in your reality, right? But sometimes we feel we have to physically interact with things in order to manifest them. But in this video, I'm going to tell you how that is completely untrue. And it's actually just understanding how to do it as to how you're going to have your specific person basically hear your thoughts, reenact them, and basically reaffirm your self-concept. So I want you to think about it in this way. Instead of thinking about physically interacting with your specific person, so we feel as if we have to speak and then we have to use our mouth and it has to go into their ears and they can hear it and then it'll alter their mind. That's not how I want you to imagine manifestation, okay? But instead, I want you to imagine it like this. Think to the basis of what each of us are made out of. So if you were to look at you and look around you, what is everything made out of? And you'd say, well, for us, it would be tissues and then organs and then molecules and then atoms and then electrons and then energy. Right? At the basis, you would say that everything is made up of energy. And this is everything. So your house, your car, your specific person, the trees, everything at its basis is the same exact thing. So you can almost think of your reality as being a soup of energy. It looks different, but if you go down to its basic form, there is nothing different between everything. So if you can think about it in that way, then if you, like a pool, if you were to touch any point of the pool, the waves are going to expand to the entirety of the pool. And so that's what's happening right now with your consciousness. And so it sounds kind of crazy, but it's only because you deny this idea as to why you're not seeing it. So basically, when you are thinking something, your specific person can hear it right now. When you think, I love them, I care about them, they love me, they care about me, when you're doing their affirmations, they feel different and everything around you feels and acts differently as a result of that. And you could almost say that's the cause of manifestation, or that's the cause as to why it actually occurs. But if we deny this in the same way of assumption, if you deny that your affirmations or your visualizations or your feelings or your assumptions are having an effect greater or at a greater distance, then you're going to totally overlook them because you can actually only ever see from the state that you are in right now. So if you're feeling outside of the state or thinking that can't happen, that's impossible, I can only talk to my specific person, that's the only way that things are going to happen or things are going to change, you are going to be missing out on a lot of success and a lot of opportunity. But as soon as we accept that, then we will allow these things to have the effect that they're already having and we will accept them. So how many times in your reality do you see something, do you experience something, and it doesn't even actually have to be with your specific person, but you just thought that's too good to be true? Right? How many times in a day or in the last year have you kind of thought that? Okay? So in that essence, that thought process is the only thing actually keeping us from being with our specific person or being with whatever it is that we felt was too good to be true. Because think about in your end state. You've already been with your specific person. You're already married. You already manifested $1 billion. You're already living your dream life. That's already done in a million trillion, an infinite amount of other ways and other alternate realities in between. Think of yourself in your God's higher state, right? Your God state could not be without the realm of possibility of doing something. Would you say there's something that God cannot do or hasn't done? And you would say, no, God can do everything and God has done everything. And so in that same case, if you're drawing your energy from that same individual and you are just a conditioned consciousness from the unlimited eternal consciousness that you're coming from, then you are also that individual. You also have created and done everything because you're just grabbing from the pool of possibility that was already created from your higher self. And so right now, when you are making these changes, if you think of everything at a quantum level, so this might be even a little better at having everyone kind of have all this make sense so that you can actually act on it. Because once this makes sense and you believe it, you're going to be able to manifest your specific person without even lifting a finger, without even talking to them, without even hanging out with them or meeting up with them or having anyone kind of meet up or talk to them as well. Think about it in the quantum state. So everything, and hopefully I don't bore you with this quantum mechanics. So everything, every atom, every electron is in a quantum state, meaning it's in more than one place at once. And because of the observer effect, when something is observed, it collapses into a singular outcome. So you could say when things are not being observed, or when there is no interaction with them, it is in a quantum state. So what's happening behind you, outside of your awareness, could all be in a quantum state, but we just don't know that. But normally, people think of things as being in their immediate surroundings as being in a physical state. So if you were to look at this video, you would say, well, my phone or my camera or my TV that's watching this, my laptop, that must be in a physical state because I'm looking at it. But I want you to think about it in this way. If everything, so again, at the energy basis, everything is in a quantum state. So we're combining these two ideas. So not only at everything at the basis is energy, but everything at its basis is in a quantum state. If that's the case, even when you are looking at something, where does the quantum state begin and end if everything is the same exact thing? So if everything is made up of the same thing, even if you were to bring it up to molecules or atoms, every atom is at a quantum state, unless it's observed. So if you were to go down to the basis, I'll pose that question again. Where does the quantum state begin and end? And you would say, because everything is the same, and because everything is in a quantum state, technically your entire reality is just one big ball of energy or one big atom that is in a quantum state and thus reacts to the way of the observer. Meaning when you have a quantum state, or when you think something and when you assume something now, every single thing in your entire reality, in your entire universe, changes as a result and then splits off into whatever kind of reality that you want to be in. So there's a reality where your specific person is obsessed with you. There's a reality where you're already married. There's a reality where you're just dating right now. There's a reality where they're blowing up your phone, right? All of those realities are here. We just have to pick and choose based on our assumption and collapse that quantum state into this reality. But at all times, you're always under a flux of what you are assuming to be. And so nothing actually needs to happen in order for you to manifest your specific person, for them to text you, for them to show up, for them to ask you out on a date, for them to ask you to marry them, right? This can happen right now. But it's that thought of that's too good to be true that stops us from revealing or finding and having that outcome. It's kind of like, imagine if you were walking in the store and there was a raffle that said, put your name in and win $10,000. What would you think about that? Immediately, your mind would be like, that's too good to be true. That can't be real. I can't just put my name in there and then have that happen, right? That would be your immediate thought. And why? Why though? And you'd say, because it's too good to be true, it feels too hard to happen. But that's just from our state. But if we think back to the idea of the energy and the quantum state and the atomic quantum collapse, right, that is happening in a reality based on your assumptions, then we know that is totally a possibility. We're just denying it. But the only reason I bring that up is because we're doing that with our specific person. The idea of your specific person asking you to marry them tomorrow feels like that raffle. It feels like it's too good to be true. And so we deny it. So even if there was an opportunity that showed up for us in that way, I know this might sound weird at first, but really let it roll around in your mind. There are opportunities right now that your specific person is trying to ask you to marry them, and we're denying it because our mind is saying that's too good to be true. And as soon as we accept it, we don't have to physically act in order for this to create. It's all just this bridge of events based on our assumptions. Then you'll find it occur. And I can even give you an example of this. So this person was in a coaching session, but they had their specific person call them, which might not sound crazy until you understand the background of what their current situation was. So before this point, they were in no contact. They had not met up with their specific person. It's been months since they hung out or texted at all. So they were basically in no contact. You would even, some people in a negative state might even term this as being ghosted. But with their assumptions, with their state of mind, they were able to manifest their specific person calling them, reaching out with absolutely nothing happening beforehand. They just assumed it, act in the state, acted as the individual who already had it, and understood that their reality is always in a quantum state, giving them exactly what they want. Because on the surface, this would be the idea of it happening as being too good to be true. People would say, if I'm in months of no contact with my specific person, having them text me right now, that's too good to be true. But this person lived it in the way of a phone call, and they're still updating me on everything that's happening, and it's fantastic. But if this person were to think those same thoughts, it's too good to be true, they wouldn't have ended up here because they would have dismissed this entire bridge of events or divine guidance that took them to this outcome. And so, all I want you to think about, and kind of a technique I want you to use right now in order to manifest the same thing, is just to remember there is no distance between you and your specific person. They are acting as the individual and showing up exactly how you assume, and the same with everything else in your reality. So if we can keep this in mind, what I want you to do is just have a thought and think of your specific person immediately responding to it. And what I want you to do is actually comment that thought in the comment section. So comment exactly what you want to say to your specific person, and then imagine them replying to that comment with exactly what you want to hear. And comment it, because that's going to create a cognitive effort on your behalf and actually create those ripples in your energetic reality, creating and altering it in a permanent way towards the outcome you want. So think about it, make sure it's exactly what you want, and then comment it down below. Comment what you want to say to your specific person, and then what you want them to say to you. And this is exactly how you're going to manifest without ever lifting a finger, without ever talking to them, without ever hanging out with them. Now, of course, if you imagine you want it to go a little bit differently, if you want to text them, you want to call them, you want to do those sorts of things, you absolutely can. Everything will always align with the state of assumption that you have. But remember, you don't actually have to do this if you can understand this quantum state of your reality and that it's always collapsing in accordance to your assumptions. Now, hopefully this is making a lot of sense, because I try to really break it down, because the idea that you have to interact with your reality to change it is a pervasive limiting belief that a lot of us struggle with. And I would say even me, right? In the past, that's exactly what I thought. I thought you had to interact with things in order to change them. But my own experience and the experience of others has taught me that that's a complete lie. Things will change and alter based on your assumptions, regardless of the distance. So make sure to comment what I mentioned in the comment section, as well as any questions that you have, because remember, you can also reach out to me if you want to send me a personal question or personal message at kyleaugustcoaching.com. As well as this, if you do want to send some positive ripples out into your reality, make sure to like this video and subscribe as well. But as always, thank you so much for stopping by today, and I can't wait to see you in my next video tomorrow.